Good day, sir. So, my report is RA 11917. So, what is RA 11917? It is an act strengthening the regulation of the private security services industry, repealing for the purpose Republic Act Number 5487, entitled An Act to regulate the organization and operation of private detective, watchmen, or security guard agencies as amended. So, yan po ang RA 11917. Ang ibig sabihin ay amendahan po ang RA 5497, otherwise known as or a private security. So, Section 1, short title. This act shall be known as the Private Security Services Industry Act. Section 2, the Declaration of Policies. Section 3, the definition of terms as used in this act. So A, license to exercise security professional or LESP. B, license to operate or LTO. C, pre-licensing training programs refers to licensing prerequisite and pre-licensing training programs. D, private security agency or PSA. E, private security industry. F, private security professional or PSP. G, private security services. H, private security training agency or PSTA. I, security consultant. J, security hardware. And K, security hardware and system designers. So Chapter 2, resignation and licensing of private security agency. In Section 4, private security agency or PSA, any Filipino citizen or judicial entity wholly owned and controlled by Filipino citizen may organize a private security agency and provide security services. So, dali pwede sila mag-provide og mga employee nga dili mo sobra sa 2,000 ka private security professional as defined ani nga act in Section 5. BSA operator or licensee. No applicant shall be granted a license to operate a PSA unless the applicant possesses the following questions. So, una, applicant shall be at least 25 years of age and dapat kuan po siya bachelor's degree holder and must be part owner of the company or in case or judicial entity holder of at least one share of stock with voting rights. And D, dapat na siya good moral character. E, must have not been convicted of any crime or offense involving moral turpitude. And F, he or she must be physically and mentally fit. And nakapasa po siya sa neuropsychiatric test and drug test sa administered sa PNP and or other similar government centers facilities. So Section 6 is ang atong tawag LTO or license to operate. Ang license to operate ma-issue lang nga siya sa ato ang chief PNP and is required to operate and manage a PSA and PSTA PSTA that an LTO for PSTA shall be granted only to a training school. So balik ko na ko ang LTO dili na siya ang LTO ang pwede na mag-issue na sa iya is ang chief PNP. So Section 7, period of validity of LTO. Ang LTO daw nala siya period of validity which is ang maximum niya is 5 years. So Section 8, fees and bond. Section 10, the issuance of firearms. So the PSA shall be entitled to possess firearms after having successfully passed the requirements prescribed by the Chief PNP and in accordance with the Public Act Number 10591 or the Comprehensive Firearm and Ammunition Regulation Act, provided that the PSA shall only be allowed to possess small arms not exceeding one firearm for each PSP to include single post in its employee, provided further the possession of firearm by PSPs shall not be allowed during their tour of duty in proper uniform within the compound of the establishment, except when they escort and secure a large amount of cash or valuable, which firearms must be determined by the PNP, provided finally an inventory of firearms of PSA shall be subjected to period inspection by the PNP. So, isa na ka person or isa ka security guard, dili sila allow na magunit o firearm kung wala sila sa ilahang duty or sa ilahang or wala sila nakasuot o proper uniform. Pag kulang ang pag isa lang ang kulang sa ilang uniform, dili sila allowed na magdala og firearms. So Section 11, uniform. The uniform of PSPS shall be different from the uniform worn and prescribed for members of the Armed Forces of the Philippines, the PNP, and other law enforcement authorities. The PNP, through the authorized representative, shall prescribe the uniform, ornaments, equipments, and paraphernalia to be worn by the PSPS while on duty. So Chapter 3, Section 12, Chapter 3, Private Security Personnel. Section 12, License to exercise security profession or LESP. No applicant shall be granted license to exercise private security professionals unless the applicant possesses the following qualifications. So, ang applicant daw, dili na sila pwede magrantan og license to exercise a private security unless wala nila possess ng mga following. Una, dapat sila sa legal age. B, dapat isa sila ka Filipino citizen. And C, they must be physically and mentally fit. D, they must have a good moral character. And E, like what I've said earlier, dapat never sila na-convict of any crime or offense involving moral turpitude. For purpose ni siya of securing the LESP, and a letter of authority to conduct training must be issued by the Supervisory Office for Security and Investigation Agency or SOSIA. So, Section 13, period of validity of LESP. So, ang LESP, kay na po siya validity. So, valid na siya for 5 years. Ikan sa date na-issue siya. And, Section 14, pre-licensing training. No person shall be granted an LESP without undergoing the pre-licensing training program as defined in this Act, provided that the PNP shall encourage opening of local and regional security training centers to provide pre-licensing training to applicants. And last but not the least, Chapter 4, Penal Provisions, Section 16, Penalties. So, any violation of the provision of this Act shall, after due notice and hearing, be subject to the corresponding penalties herein provided. So, A license to operate or a PSA may be cancelled, revoked, or suspended by the Chief PNP. Pwede siya cancel or i-revoke sa atong Chief PNP kung first, it takes part in an armed conflict against the government. 2. It issues force or the threat of force or those it presents in a national or local electoral contest. 3. It uses its authority to be involved in human rights violations. 4. It is used as a privately owned and operated paramilitary organization operating outside of the regulatory frameworks established by this law and the implementing rules and regulations adopted by the PNP. 5. It intentionally, maliciously makes use of electronic security devices or remote video surveillance in a manner that violates the privacy of civilians. It acted with gross negligence in dealing with violations or mistakes of its members' incompetency in its ranks. 7. Its name, operator, or license is convicted or by final judgment of any crimes or felony. 8. It violates any provision of Presidential Decree number 442, otherwise known as the Labor Code of the Philippines, as amended, including its implementing rules and regulations. And 9. It acted in a manner which renders the PSA detriment, maintenance, peace and order. So, sa letter B nga penalties, any PSA or any entity which operates without a valid LTO shall suffer the penalty fine of not less than 1 million pesos and not more than 5 million pesos. And letter C, any PSA or entity who operates with an expired LTO kay maka-fine sila og 50,000 pero dili po mulapas og 100,000. And any person practicing private security profession without a valid license or with only an expired license kay makasuffer siya same sa expired ang LTO nga 50,000 pesos and dili po siya mosobra og 100,000 pesos. And letter E, any person who offers to render or renders services to person or places conducting illegal activities shall suffer the penalty of imprisonment of not less than 12 years and 1 day to 20 years and a fine of 1 million pesos. And F, any person who violates any of the provision of this act not mentioned in the preceding subsection shall suffer the penalty of imprisonment of not less than 6 months and 1 day to 6 years or a fine of 1 million pesos. So, that's it. Thank you po, sir.